Hey guys, I have a new campaign starting on Saturday, April 12th. It's going to be every Saturday from 2 p.m. Eastern to 5:30 p.m. Eastern. It is featured on the screen here, Troubles in Otari, converted to DC 20. This is a low-level adventure from Pathfinder 2nd Edition that I've painstakingly converted over to DC 20. And I thought, what better way to showcase the upcoming campaign than to go over some of the things that I've done to convert and provide a Pathfinder-esque experience while using DC 20 as the game system. So, without further ado, I have a couple handouts that I wanted to show. The first one is the armor handout. So you'll see here that I have light armor and heavy armor with costs. DC 20 currently doesn't have any costs for armor, so I took the Pathfinder prices for armor, and then for the Adept and Expert, I just took the cost of the +1 rune and the +2 rune. I think this will provide a very Pathfinder type of feeling to the economy, because since the module is a Pathfinder module, I'm keeping the treasure the same as it would be in that Pathfinder module, and they will essentially have the proper amount of gold in order to afford the things that they should be able to afford when the time comes. That said, I'm also using the Pathfinder 2nd Edition costs for gear like rope, pittons, other adventuring gear, as well as weapons and armor. So you see that I've taken the DC 20 prices for adding a modification to armor or removing the modification from armor. I have prices added to the shields, bucklers, round shields, kite shields, so the three that are currently in DC 20. And then I added tower shield because in DC 20, tower shields, I don't see very many people use them, but they are a thing, and I thought it would convert well to DC 20. The price also puts it out of the range of starting characters for the most part, but if they wanted to pick one up in the future, they would be able to. +2 PD, -1 speed to that tower shield, and granting the following actions of gain cover for 1 action point to give half cover, and you could spend an additional action point when you take that action to gain 3/4 cover instead. So for half your action economy, +5 PD, very similar to doing heroic parry. However, this is not a reaction, and it can only protect you. It also costs you a movement 1 speed, so I hope in all that it's balanced. None of my players have taken the tower shield yet, but if you have any thoughts on it, feel free to leave those in the comments section. So the next thing that I wanted to look at is exploration activities. Anybody that's played Pathfinder 2nd Edition knows that exploration activities are a big part of that game. So I felt like they would be important to use in this campaign as well. So I've made DC 20 versions of those, such as Avoid Notice, Defend, Detect Magic, Follow the Expert, Investigate, Repeat a Spell, Scout, and Search. In the prologue, where I ran the party through the beginner box, the upper floor of it, in a modified fashion, I thought that the exploration activities they added an interesting element. It let the players gain some benefit and it let me know what they were focusing on. I know this is not necessarily a very DC-20 thing, but I think it feels DC-20 the way that I have it, the way I have it laid out. Okay, and moving on, I needed to create the disable action and have it work in DC-20 because one of the other big things with Pathfinder 2nd Edition is its complex hazards and complex haunts. I did a video showing how I would create them in DC-20, and I can link that video either in a card above or at the in the comments below in the description. But here's the disable action as I have it laid out. So it is a new action that can be taken in some situations, mostly for traps and complex hazards. Disable, it's 2 action points. Attempt a relevant skill to disable a trap, complex hazard, or complex haunt. The DM knows the skills that are relevant in the given situation. That information can be learned via the Analyze Creature action. In most cases, you'll need to be adjacent to a trap, complex hazard, or complex haunt. In some cases, mostly complex haunts, you may not need to be adjacent. Most traps will need a single success. Complex hazards and complex haunts may need several successes, and possibly while adjacent to several locations, depending on where those points are that you need to disable. When the skill check is made, this is how you calculate it. So on a success, you earn a success point towards disabling it. Success each 5, an additional success point. Critical success, another success point. And I set the DC. So there's a couple of complex hazards and or haunts in Troubles in Otari. So I think this is a very DC-20 way to handle it. When it comes to those complex hazards and haunts, the way I run them is the players roll initiative, and the haunt only has, or the hazard only has legendary action points. But in between each player's turn, it always spends one of its legendary action points to do something in its routine. So what it gives is a very tactile kind of encounter where it's always changing, because let's say player A does a thing, then the trap does a thing, and then player B does a thing, then the trap does another thing. And depending on what's in its routine, which it could vary depending on what kind of trap it is, you get a very realistic, flowing kind of a... It's not quite a combat. I mean, I guess it can be, and it is handled through initiative, but the players that I've run through complex hazards have seem to have had a fun time with them. So I'm really excited to see how this group does. So it's disable. The other thing that I've done, and I do this in all my DC-20 games, is I have copied a lot of the handouts, the actions and rules and things into handouts. So that's like Analyze Creature. Simon says hi. So this is just in a rules folder that everybody has access to, which will quickly get players whatever rules they need at their fingertips if they're not familiar with the beta and where to find stuff in there. I have, again, like painstakingly, converted all of the monsters over to DC-20. So I went through all of their stats, converted them over to might, agility, intelligence, charisma. I've converted all of their abilities. I think it still holds on to that Pathfinder feel while working within DC-20. And for example, let me show you one that the players have already encountered giant rat. So you could see I have its stats figured out based on their Pathfinder stats, and they have this attack enhancement, which is pretty pretty dangerous, but it is the Pathfinder Filth Fever, just made to work in DC 20. So just showcase the monsters and the care that I've put into them all, and they all have very uh, very important statistics to them that make Analyze Creature very valuable, just as valuable as it is in Pathfinder Second Edition. In this game, and really a lot of most of the DC 20 games that I run, I try to make the monsters have abilities that you would want to analyze them to find out um, what what they can do, what they're resistant to, what they're vulnerable to. And in that regard, my initial conversions were D&D, but Pathfinder monsters, they just automatically have a lot of that stuff already baked into them. So I think it was a natural fit for the monsters that I converted for this game. Currently, just to wrap up talking about the upcoming campaign. So I say upcoming. We ran 3 sessions so far. Actually, technically 2 in session 0. The upcoming one is number 3. But so there was session 0 and then 2 sessions to get through the top floor of the beginner box. And on April 12th, which is just about 2 weeks, we're going to be jumping into the first chapter of Troubles in Otari. The player characters are currently level 2, as that is the beginning level for Troubles in Otari in Pathfinder. So anybody that joins will be creating a second level character. And Troubles in Otari is 3 chapters. The first chapter is kind of a small little dungeon type area, kind of low pressure, but a fun way to just get the party together for a little bit of combat, a little bit of role play. It's a good starter. The second chapter is kind of a sandbox, almost a choose your own adventure, where there's a bunch of little tasks that you need to complete in order to fulfill the bigger picture of what's going on, which wraps up in chapter 3 with a classic proper dungeon crawl. So it's a good adventure. It covers a lot of ground. I'm using milestone leveling. So for chapter 1, the players are level 2. When they finish chapter 1, they will level to 3. Because chapter 2 in Pathfinder would use 3rd level characters. And once chapter 2 is complete, the party will level to 4. And chapter 3 is for 4th level characters. The cool thing there is that beta 0.9 just dropped, which includes now levels 3 and 4. So where before I had done a lot of work creating subclasses for all the classes so that players could experience levels 3 and 4 and even 5. I ran Lost Mines of Phandelver up to level 5. And for those players, I actually even created 5th level class features because they currently don't exist. But the cool thing for Troubles in Otari is it does run from levels 2 to 4, so I will not have to create any homebrew as far as the classes, subclasses are concerned. I say that not in the stance of being lazy and not wanting to. I love homebrew, but it's really cool that I don't have to, and players can play with the official material now all the way through the entire campaign. So I would say one of the most exciting things with this campaign is it will allow you to fully experience DC-20 from levels 2 through 4 completely as intended, with a couple tweaks to make it feel a little bit more Pathfinder, because it is a Pathfinder module after all. The good news there is that DC-20 and Pathfinder do seem to mesh in a lot of ways between similar action economies, though I find DC-20 is less restrictive, and the complex nature of its monsters and things, I think were also a really good fit. So, with that, I will have the link to the Start Playing game in the description below. If you can, please share this out. I have 2 spots open in the game. I would like to get as many people as I can to be able to experience this awesome campaign. And if you haven't already, we're at 290 subscribers, really trying to get to 300. If you haven't already, please consider liking, subscribing, and until next time, keep rolling with us.